The human diplomat passed all 17 security scans without incident, and then Counselor Zillax watched her tear through 6 armed Kreth warriors with her bare hands in less time than it took him to blink. "Code Vermilion!" Station Commander Kael'thas screamed into his comm, his 3 hearts hammering against his chestplate. "Diplomatic Bay 3, we have a—" He paused, staring at the security feeds. What did they have? "We have a human situation." Ambassador Olivia Smith stood in the center of the reception bay, 6 elite Kreth warriors sprawled around her in various states of unconsciousness. She smoothed down her business suit, adjusted her name badge, and looked up at the security camera with an expression of mild confusion. Hello," she called out. "Is someone going to show me to the conference room or—" Kael'thas felt his cranial ridges flush deep purple. Every biometric sensor in the facility had classified her as harmless. Low muscle density for a bipedal species. Minimal biomass. No natural weapons. No cybernetic enhancements. No psionic signature. She'd registered as one of the most non-threatening entities ever to enter Galactic Council space. And she'd just disabled 6 warriors who could bench press a shuttle. Security Chief Vexia burst into the command center, her breathing apparatus hissing. "Sir, medical teams are responding, but what happened? The footage just shows the human walking, and then—" She made a gesture of helpless confusion. "It's too fast to process. Did she have a concealed weapon?" According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. "Replay at 1/10 speed," Kael'thas ordered. The holographic display flickered to life. Olivia Smith walked calmly through the checkpoint, her credentials accepted, her posture relaxed. Then something small skittered across the polished floor, a maintenance bot, harmless, about the size of a Terran fist. It had 8 articulated legs for navigating tight spaces. What happened next defied everything Kael'thas understood about biology. The human's pupils dilated to twice their normal size in 0.03 seconds. Her muscle density spiked by 400% according to the bioscanners. Her heart rate tripled. The ambient temperature around her increased by 2 degrees as her metabolism went into overdrive. And she moved. The first Kreth warrior reached for his weapon. The human's hand intercepted his wrist, twisted, and the warrior was airborne, crashing into his companion. Another warrior lunged from behind. Without looking, the human pivoted, drove her elbow into his solar plexus, and followed through with a palm strike that sent him sliding across the floor. The remaining 4 attempted a coordinated assault. They lasted 3 seconds. "Stop playback," Kael'thas whispered. "Vexia, tell me what threat triggered this response." "Sir, I've run the analysis 17 times. The only anomaly in the environment was—" She trailed off, her bioluminescent markings flickering with disbelief. "The maintenance bot, Unit 77 Delta. Show me its threat profile." A data screen materialized. Maintenance bot, 77D. Function, cleaning and minor repairs. Weapons capability, none. Toxicity, none. Known aggression incidents, 0 across 400 years of operation. Threat level to sentient life, effectively 0. "By the ancestors," Kael'thas breathed. "She went into combat mode over a cleaning bot?" His comm crackled. "Commander, the human is asking if she did something wrong. She's very apologetic. She wants to know if the guards are okay and if she's going to miss her appointment." Kael'thas stared at the security feed. Ambassador Olivia Smith stood with her hands clasped, looking genuinely concerned, while medical teams worked on the warriors she'd demolished in the time it took to exhale. Tell her to wait. We need to understand what we're dealing with." 20 minutes later, Kael'thas found himself face-to-face with humanity's first official representative to the Galactic Council, separated only by a transparent aluminum barrier that could withstand a plasma lance. Olivia Smith smiled apologetically. "I am so sorry about your guards. Are they going to be okay? I really didn't mean to. I just reacted." "Reacted," Kael'thas repeated slowly. Ambassador Smith, you incapacitated 6 trained warriors in 4.2 seconds. Our scans show you're a civilian administrative specialist. No military background, no combat augmentation. Please explain. She winced. Right, yeah, about that. Did you see what caused it? Because I'm pretty sure I saw a spider. Vexia, standing beside Kael'thas, consulted her datapad. Ambassador, our records show that Spider is a Terran arthropod. The maintenance bot bears only superficial resemblance. Doesn't matter, Olivia interrupted, laughing nervously. Looked enough like a spider. 8 legs, moved funny, appeared suddenly. My brain just went, nope, and my body did the rest. Kael'thas felt his translator struggling with the nuances. Your brain said no? Fight or flight response, Olivia explained, as if this clarified everything. It's kind of a human thing. We see something that looks threatening. Our bodies just react. Adrenaline, increased strength, faster reflexes, the works. Happened before my conscious mind even registered what I was looking at. But the maintenance bot poses no threat, Vexia protested. Our bioscanners would have detected any danger and alerted you. Your own sensors should have. Do humans not have threat assessment protocols? Olivia's laugh was sharp and a little bitter. Oh, we have threat assessment. It's just, not great. Pretty much calibrated to assume everything wants to kill us. Kael'thas exchanged a look with Vexia. Everything? Where I grew up? Yeah, basically. Spiders could be venomous. Snakes definitely were. Scorpions, jellyfish, certain plants, certain mushrooms, other humans. She ticked them off on her fingers. Oh, and the weather, and microscopic organisms, and large predators, and medium-sized predators, and sometimes small predators if you weren't paying attention. The silence in the observation room stretched uncomfortably. Earth, Vexia said slowly, accessing her database, is classified as a Class 9 death world. We assumed this was an exaggeration from your initial surveys. 9? Olivia frowned. What's the scale? Out of 10, 10 being surface of a star. Oh, Olivia considered this. Yeah, that tracks. Home could be pretty rough. Kael'thas felt something cold settle in his midsection. Ambassador Smith, you're telling me that humans evolved on a planet so hostile that you developed instantaneous combat responses to perceived threats, regardless of actual danger. Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad, Olivia said. But hey, it kept us alive, right? Better safe than sorry. Though I really am sorry about your guards. I've been working on it. Therapy, meditation, the whole thing. I'm much better than I used to be. Better, Kael'thas repeated faintly. His comm buzzed. Commander, Council Member Jotaro is demanding an immediate briefing. The incident has reached the Senior Council. They're convening an emergency session. Kael'thas closed his eyes. Of course they were. The emergency council chamber filled rapidly with representatives from 47 species. Holographic projections flickered to life as members joined remotely from across the galaxy. The air buzzed with concerned chatter in dozens of languages. Councillor Jotaro, a towering crystalline being whose species had never known predation, called the session to order. Commander Kael'thas, explain the incident. We've reviewed the footage, but the implications are troubling. Kael'thas projected the security video and biometric data. The chamber fell silent as they watched Olivia Smith's transformation from peaceful civilian to whirlwind of violence and back again. The human representative appears to have experienced what her species calls a fight-or-flight response, Kael'thas began. It's an autonomic nervous system reaction that bypasses conscious thought when they perceive danger. Perceive being the operative word, xenobiologist Lirana interjected, her tentacles writhing with agitation. Esteemed Council, I've spent the last hour reviewing human evolutionary biology. The data is unprecedented. Humans don't assess threats logically. They react emotionally, instantly, with overwhelming force to stimuli that their ancestors learned to fear. She projected a rotating image of Earth. They evolved on a planet where nearly everything was hostile. Venomous insects, apex predators, toxic plants, disease, extreme weather, other humans. Their survival strategy wasn't to accurately assess each threat. They didn't have time. Instead, they evolved to assume everything was dangerous and react with maximum aggression. But our scans showed no threat, Counselor Xylar protested. Surely their technology should override these primitive instincts. That's the problem, Lirana said. It doesn't. Can't. The response occurs in 0.03 seconds, faster than conscious thought, faster than their technology can intervene. They've carried their fear library with them into space, millions of years of accumulated trauma encoded in their DNA. So the human attacked our guards because she was frightened? Jataro's crystalline structure pulsed with confusion. Of a cleaning bot? She thought it was a spider, Vexia supplied. A Terran arthropod that can be venomous. Her brain saw 8 legs, assumed mortal danger, and initiated a combat response that evolved to deal with Earth's hostile ecosystem. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices. We cannot have species that attack without provocation. The liability alone. What if a council member accidentally triggers this response? Are all humans like this? Jataro's voice cut through the chaos. Bring the human in. Let her speak for herself. Olivia Smith entered the council chamber with the same calm demeanor she'd displayed after demolishing 6 guards. She stood at the designated speaking position and offered a small wave. Hi, so, I'm guessing this is about the spider thing? Ambassador Smith, Jataro said carefully, we need to understand your species before we can consider Earth's petition to join the Galactic Council. Are all humans like you? Olivia laughed, and Kael'thas noticed several council members flinch at the sudden sound. Oh yeah, I mean, everyone's got different triggers, but the fight or flight thing, universal human experience. Some people freak out over heights, some over enclosed spaces, some over public speaking. She shrugged. I got stuck with arachnophobia. Spiders, anything that looks like spiders, anything with too many legs in general. My brain just hits the panic button. But you must have therapy, medication, something to control these reactions? Lirana asked. Sure, and it helps, but you can't fully override a few million years of evolution, you know? It's like asking you not to breathe. The instinct is too deep. Olivia's expression grew more serious. Look, I get that it seems extreme, but this is why we survived. Earth didn't give us claws or venom or armor. We got big brains and the ability to absolutely lose our minds when threatened. Worked pretty well for us. Counselor Dirax, a military advisor, leaned forward. Ambassador, your biometrics during the incident showed capabilities far beyond what our initial scans detected. Increased strength, speed, pain, tolerance. Are you enhanced? Nope, completely baseline human. That's just adrenaline. Our bodies have this emergency override system. Basically, when we think we're going to die, our endocrine system dumps a bunch of hormones into our bloodstream. Temporarily gives us super strength, faster reflexes, reduced pain sensitivity. Really useful when you're being chased by a predator or fighting for your life. How temporary? Usually a few minutes. Then we crash pretty hard. Get shaky, tired, sometimes cry or laugh uncontrollably. Adrenaline hangover is rough. Kael'thas watched the council members process this information with visible discomfort. He understood their concern. How could you trust a species that could transform into something dangerous without warning, without conscious control? Then Vexia cleared her throat. Esteemed council, there's something else. Something perhaps more concerning. She projected a different segment of security footage. This is Ambassador Smith's walk from the docking bay to the diplomatic checkpoint. I've highlighted 3 incidents. The holograms zoomed in. First, Olivia walking past a radiation leak warning, a malfunction that had flooded a corridor with lethal doses of gamma radiation. She'd passed directly through it, commented to herself that it felt a bit warm, and continued on. Second, her leaning casually against a support beam that structural sensors had flagged as critically unstable. It hadn't collapsed, but the stress readings spiked dangerously. Third, her pausing near a ventilation shaft that was venting toxic atmospheric processors, gases that would kill most council species within minutes. She'd wrinkled her nose, muttered, "Smells weird," and moved on. She walked through 3 genuinely lethal situations, Vexia said quietly, without even noticing. The council chamber went absolutely silent. Jotaro turned to Olivia. "Ambassador, were you aware of any of these hazards?" Olivia blinked. No? What hazards?" "The radiation, the structural failure, the toxic gases." "Oh," Olivia looked genuinely surprised. I mean, I felt a little warm at one point, and yeah, something smelled funky, but I didn't—" She paused. "Wait, how lethal are we talking?" "The radiation exposure alone would have killed most council species within hours," Lirana said. "The toxic gases should have rendered you unconscious in seconds." Olivia scratched her head. "Right. Yeah, humans are pretty resistant to that stuff. Radiation, toxins, temperature extremes. Earth threw everything at us, so we got really good at not dying from it. Takes a lot to actually kill a human." Kael'thas felt the pieces clicking into place, and the picture they formed was terrifying. "Let me understand," he said slowly. "Humans overreact to false threats with overwhelming violence, and underreact to actual threats that would kill other species?" "I mean, I wouldn't say we underreact exactly," Olivia protested. "We just have a higher threshold for actually dangerous. Because on Earth, if it wasn't immediately trying to kill you, you kinda had to ignore it so you could focus on the things that were actively trying to kill you." Lirana's voice was barely a whisper. "There, predators and prey simultaneously, hypervigilant and dangerously resilient. They survived by assuming everything was lethal while being too hardy to die from things that actually were lethal." "That's evolution on a Class 9 death world," Olivia said with a touch of pride. "We're anxious as hell, but really hard to kill. It's not a great combination for, mental health, but it got us into space." Durax made a gesture of respect. "Ambassador, I've studied warfare across 3,000 species. Your kind, your natural-born soldiers, the perfect balance of aggression and durability." "We prefer survivors," Olivia said. "But yeah, we're good in a crisis. Too good sometimes. That's kind of the problem, isn't it? You're all worried we're going to accidentally start fights because something looks at us funny." Jotaro's crystalline structure shifted through several colors. "Can you blame us? Your species exists in a constant state of potential violence." "Not constant," Olivia corrected. "Just ready. There's a difference. Look, I know we're weird. I know we don't make sense to you, but we're asking to join the council because we've learned to work with other species. We understand ourselves better now. We have protocols, safety measures, cultural training. Yes, sometimes a human might freak out over something harmless. And yes, we might not freak out over something genuinely dangerous, but we're aware of it. We can adapt. The question," Councillor Zilak said, speaking for the first time, "is whether the council can adapt to you." A long silence followed. Finally, Jotaro spoke. "We will recess for deliberation. Ambassador Smith, please wait outside the chamber." Olivia sat in the antechamber, scrolling through her datapad and trying not to think about how badly she'd probably screwed up humanity's first impression. The doors to the council chamber remained closed. Occasionally, she heard raised voices from within, or whatever passed for raised voices among species that communicated through bioluminescence, pheromones, and crystalline resonance. Kael'thas emerged after 2 hours. He looked exhausted. "The council has reached a decision," he said. "You should come in." Olivia followed him back into the chamber. The assembled representatives looked at her with expressions ranging from curiosity to wariness to something that might have been fear. Jotaro spoke. Ambassador Smith, the Galactic Council has voted to accept Earth's petition for membership. Olivia's breath caught. Really? With conditions, Jotaro continued. Extensive conditions. We're implementing new safety protocols station-wide. All images of Earth fauna will be removed from public displays to avoid triggering human threat responses. Designated human zones will be established where your species can decompress. Mandatory cultural sensitivity training will be required for all species interacting regularly with humans. And we're creating a new position, Human Liaison Officer, to help bridge the gap between human psychology and galactic norms. We're also, Counselor Zilax added, establishing protocols for human overreaction incidents. If a human injures someone during a threat response to a non-threatening stimulus, it will be treated as an involuntary medical event rather than assault, provided the human submits to psychological evaluation and additional training. Furthermore, Dirac said, we're interested in recruiting human advisors for our peacekeeping forces. Your species' unique threat assessment capabilities could prove valuable in combat situations. Olivia felt tears prickling her eyes. You're really letting us in, even though we're terrifying, Lirana suggested gently. Yes, but also fascinating, and perhaps the galaxy needs a little terror to keep us honest. You've survived things that would have driven most species extinct. That resilience, that determination, it's valuable. We simply need to learn to work with it. And, Jotaro added, you're not trying to hide what you are. You're honest about your limitations and capabilities. That transparency matters. Kael'thas stepped forward. I've been appointed as the first human liaison officer. Congratulations, Ambassador. I'll be seeing a lot of you. Hazard pay better be good, Olivia said, then laughed at his expression. Sorry, human humor. We joke when we're nervous. Another coping mechanism. I'm learning that, Kael'thas said dryly. Come. We have approximately 1,000 forms to process, and I need to brief you on which council members have traits that might trigger human threat responses. They walked together toward the administrative wing, Olivia chattering excitedly about trade agreements and cultural exchange programs. As they passed the diplomatic bay, she noticed the cleaning crew carefully removing all the maintenance bots with 8 legs. Overkill, don't you think? She said. Perhaps, Kael'thas replied, but better safe than... A datapad slipped from a nearby desk and clattered to the floor. Before it landed, Olivia's hand shot out and caught it, moving with that same impossible speed Kael'thas had seen in the security footage. Every alien in the corridor froze. Olivia looked at the datapad, then at the terrified faces around her, then at Kael'thas. Did I do it again? Your reflexes, Kael'thas said carefully, are going to take some getting used to. Right, sorry. I'll try to move more slowly around breakable things, and people, especially people. As they continued walking, Kael'thas found himself reflecting on the council's debate. Counselor Zilar had asked the crucial question, are humans the monsters, or did they simply survive monsters? Watching Olivia now, cheerful, apologetic, deadly, he thought perhaps the answer was both. Humans weren't monsters, but they carried monsters inside them, leashed by choice and conscious effort, ready to slip free at a moment's notice. They'd evolved to be their own protectors, because nothing else on their world would. The galaxy was about to learn what that meant. So, Olivia said brightly, where's the cafeteria? I'm starving. Fighting off perceived spider threats really works up an appetite. This way, Kael'thas said, making a mental note to ensure no menu items resembled anything from Earth's extensive list of terrifying creatures. And Ambassador? Yeah? Welcome to the Galactic Council. Try not to dismantle any more of my security team. Olivia grinned. No promises, but I'll do my best. As they rounded the corner, Kael'thas heard her mutter under her breath. Besides, I'm way more scared of spiders than any alien warriors. They'd have to really sneak up on me to be a problem. He made another mental note. ensure no council members ever attempted to surprise a human, for everyone's safety. The scariest thing about humans, Kael'thas realized, wasn't that they could become monsters in an instant. It was that they had no idea how monstrous they truly were, or how casually they carried that capacity while discussing lunch options and trade agreements. The galaxy had just invited Deathworlders into the fold. This was going to be interesting.